All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel, Swordfire X5. In the studio tonight, April 11th, 2022. Kind of unwinding for the evening. Got a 80s synthwave mix going on in the background. I'm kind of digging it tonight. Started out originally, I wanted to do a show on, I wanted to do like an 80s night show. And I want to kind of go over like greatest 80s movies of all time. I actually have it pulled up in the background. And I think it would make a really great show. But man, then I was listening to this music and then I was focusing right here on, the Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator. I'm like, dude, I just kind of want to talk right about Terminator. The Terminator movies. Which, this music kind of reminds me of a little bit. But I find those movies, first of all, I think they're awesome. I think they're extremely well directed movies. They're just all around cool. They're a classic, badass action adventure movie. And it was done very well. Some of the newer ones, I've watched the newer ones, I think once, but I'm talking about Terminator the original and Terminator 2. Especially T2, because there's the scene in the beginning where Arnold Schwarzenegger walks in the bar. He just incarnates into this realm, and he's butt-ass naked, and he goes into the bar, and he, starts a fight with this biker gang, right? If you've seen the movie, you know the scene. And he tells the guy he wants his clothes, and he takes his clothes, and he ends up taking his motorcycle, and he rides off into the night like a badass. And the first time I saw that movie, I was like, man, this is awesome. I think I actually saw T2 before the original Terminator. But then I watched it recently, the first one, and I was like, dude, this is even better because he's like the bad guy in the first one, right? In the second one, he's the good guy. Both have amazing storylines. But one thing I find interesting is, how the future has been shaped to kind of, it's almost like a prophecy, right? Terminator is almost like this prophecy of it's just a story about machines taking over the world, and the fight between humanity and machines, right? That's what the storyline of Terminator is, essentially. And then now that's kind of what we're seeing happen, but these movies came out in the 80s. But you're seeing, machines and technology surpassing human intelligence, basically. And that's, it's kind of bizarre to think about, man. But maybe that's what makes it so good. You ever notice how the movies that kind of tell what's going on are the best movies? Like The Matrix. How many of you guys have seen The Matrix and know okay, I could see how this reality that we're living in right now is identical to what The Matrix tells us about. And then you got you have Star Wars. Star Wars has huge political, there's politics in Star Wars, there's mythology, there's theology, there's so much tied into it. But the politics of the time, the directors kind of incorporate into it. So I find that stuff super interesting. I love it. But back to, the Terminator. This synthwave music, it reminds me of that. That whole era. And I think the 80s era I'm drawn to is super, that's I've always been kind of drawn to the 80s. Even though I didn't grow up in the 80s, I love 80s music, I love 80s movies. The cars, the bikes, dude, the 80s motorcycles. I mean, it just was such a time. It's portrayed as a time when things were kind of simpler and, more badass, to put it lightly. You know what I mean? It's just the 80s. Everybody I talked to that grew up in the 80s, they loved it. Like, yeah, man, it's freaking awesome. You know, you do whatever you want. Basically, you know what I mean? You can't do that no more. You can't do whatever you want no more. But yeah, man. So other 80s movies other than Terminator, you know, I'm sure everybody has their own favorite, but Terminator is definitely my top 5. I'm just going to kind of scroll down here a little bit, see if I can see them. Oh, man. A lot of these I haven't even heard of. Excellent Adventure, Beetlejuice. I've heard of Beetlejuice. Indiana Jones, dude. Heck yeah, how old was I when I found out about Indiana Jones? I don't even remember. I think it was probably 12, 13 maybe. Talk about a badass adventure movie. The Indiana Jones series, which I think there's another one coming out soon. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Indiana Jones 5, I saw something for that the other day. I might watch it. You know, the Crystal Skull, it was okay. I like Harrison Ford. I think he did a really good job in Star Wars, the Disney Star Wars. You know, Force Awakens. Thought he was good in that. But we'll see how the 5th one turns out. You know what I mean? Give the guy some credit for, you know, still doing it. Still doing, like, adventure movies. Wanting to inspire people to go on adventures. I admire that. You know, I really do, man. You know, and Harrison Ford, he's a pretty, you know, he's a badass too. Really. He's, like, went out and got his pilot's license. I think he's crashed a plane a couple times. He's like, crashed a plane, like, 2 or 3 times. I'm pretty sure. You have to cross-reference that, but he's definitely crashed a plane. I think that'd be so cool to get, like, your pilot's license, you know, to learn how to fly. That's something I've always really wanted to do. I just have never kind of gone for it because of, like, the financial end of the part. So I think it's not cheap getting your pilot's license, but I don't think you need one for, like, one of those ultralights. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they got, like, the little bicycle frame with the little propeller on the back, and like a little 5 horsepower motor. You're like flying around at 1,000 feet. Those people are hardcore, man. I'd like to get a pilot of one of those on the show, because it would be so cool. But man, talk about scary. You know, you got this little tiny ass engine behind you that you hope doesn't. And let me tell you, I've had a lot of experience with engine failure in all my, you know, equipment, vehicles, whatever. Engine failure has always been a big one for me. So to fly one of those way that high up in the sky, you know, I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. This is a fun conversation. I'm going to continue to enjoy the rest of my evening, I think, downstairs on the couch. You know, it was a Monday, which actually I got to take the trash out tonight. But I hope everybody has a great week. Stay tuned. I've been working on a few things I'm excited about. A couple top secret projects I've been working on. It's always fun when you have top secret projects, you know. It's always fun when there's like a top secret project you don't really want to tell people about. But I've been doing some stuff, working on a top secret project in the studio, and you know, looking for some different guests. I got some cards made up. Pretty excited about them. Swordfire X5 show cards. They're pretty sharp looking. They have a QR code on the back. So, you know, if you see one of these bad boys out, give it a scan. And if you're interested in coming on the show, there's a number I'm going to give out tonight here on the channel to call. Leave a voice message. If you want to come on the show, leave me a message. I'll get back to you. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know, I think I'm going to start keeping it around 20, 30 minutes. Nothing super long, nothing super crazy. Okay? This is meant to connect with people. Like, real quick. Like meetings, it's like when you meet somebody at the gas station. You're like, oh, hey, you know, you talk to them a little bit. It's like an extended version of that, to 15, 20 minutes, and maybe learning a little more about them. Like, what are you into? All right, you like fishing, that's cool. You like camping, that's cool. You like kayaking, that's cool. You know, you like, you know, I'm looking for people with similar interests, obviously. You fly an ultralight, that's cool. One of the things I want to kind of get into more is the like van life, bus life type stuff. My girlfriend and I have been talking, planning like future stuff, thinking about future stuff. It's always good to have goals, man. And I really admire the whole bus life thing, you know what I mean? Like minimalistic living. It's definitely on the goals, but getting off track here. If you want to come on the show, here's the number you're going to call. And that number is 814-299-9260. That is the Swordfire X5 show's number. Let me know, man. Give me a shout out. I'd love to talk to you. And until then, guys, keep it locked here on the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching these, man. I appreciate all your guys' support out there. I love you all. If you're a new subscriber to the channel, thank you. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys later, man. Have a great week. This is Swordfire X5.